So I'm gonna break it down for you, all right? And if somebody wants to know what I mean by turn violent, all right, this is what I mean. If you resist lawful orders, you're going to jail. Let me be very clear about that. If you block an intersection or a roadway in Brevard County, you are going to jail. If you flee arrest, you're going to go to jail tired because we are going to run you down and put you in jail. If you try to mob rule a car in Brevard County, gathering around it, refusing to let the driver leave, in our county, you're most likely going to get run over and dragged across the street. If you spit on us, you're going to the hospital and in jail. If you hit one of us, you're going to the hospital and jail, and most likely get bitten by one of our big, beautiful dogs that we have here. If you throw a brick, a firebomb, or point a gun at one of our deputies, we will be notifying your family where to collect your remains at, because we will kill you graveyard dead. We're not going to play. This has got to stop. You're watching what's taking place out there. You're seeing police officers that are being attacked, being spit on, being put in harm's way just for doing their jobs. You're seeing ICE agents that are being targeted for doing their jobs. And you're seeing obstructionists that are doing all of this, standing in the way of law and order.
So I wanted to show you my TV setup here, but check this out. Is this the coolest thing ever? I got this bird who's built his nest right there, and I can just sit and watch TV, and his mate comes in and they just play right there. Look at him. Isn't that beautiful? Can you imagine having this view? I'm the luckiest man on the planet. Look at him. Oh, there he goes. All right, cool. And he'll be back. I get to watch him every day now. Watching the world burn, watching the world burn. June 17th and 18th, 2025. Because as news comes in, I'll be updating this video with future updates. But right now it's the 17th. Wasn't that a great clip up front? That's why I love living in Florida. Boy, that sheriff put it the right way, didn't he? Yeah, that was before, obviously before the, what do they call it, No Kings protest, which turned into not much of a protest from what I could tell, which is good. I guess you can only pay people so much to protest. Obviously, the topic of today's video will be mostly about the Iran-Israeli conflict. You know, there's a lot to say there. You know, one of the things I did want to point out, I'm wondering if we've had an invasion of the body snatchers. You think some alien is inhabiting Trump's body? I mean, I think he's fucking lost his mind, man. I don't know what the hell's going on. You know, dissing Tulsi Gabbard. I don't care what Tulsi says. I think Iran's very close to a nuclear weapon. That's his national security advisor, man. she must well resign because obviously he's not taking her advice. I mean, I love Tulsi, man. I think she's a great person. And if Trump would listen to her, I think he'd be a lot better off. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, some of the tweets that Trump's put out, oh my God. I'm reading them and I'm thinking, is this the same dude I voted for? You know, and then you know, it's kind of like, remember Bush when he said no new taxes? And Trump said no new wars, no new wars. It looks like he's going to take us to war with Iran. Which, you know, there's so much misinformation that's coming out. I'm just going to hit on real quick up front here what we know. You know, we know Iran is a vast country. I think they said Iran's like the size of Europe. And, you know, with a lot of mountainous territory. And 90 million people. Now, you remember when we invaded Iraq? I think Iraq only had 50 million people. So how in the world are you going to take on Trump? 90 million people with 40,000 soldiers. I think that's all we got in the Middle East. I mean, And from what Scott Ritter has said, those are mostly just maintenance people, you know, that work on planes and stuff. But they're not infantry, so you can't go in on the ground. So what are you going to do? I guess you're going to maybe bomb a little bit. But so let's hit on what we know, okay? And I want to try to give you some perspective on this. So we were going to meet with Iran on Sunday, and Iran sounded like they were coming around to maybe a JCPOA agreement where we would keep an eye on their nuclear program, make sure they're just using it for power and civilian purposes, you know, radiology, that type of thing. And that's, you know, and of course they had we caught, you know, everybody seems so thrilled that we caught them with their pants down. Oh yeah, because all the negotiators were right there. You know, as Trump put it, uneloquently, I might say, Israel killed all the people we were talking to because they knew exactly where they were. And I want to talk about that strike. Now, whether you think it's genius or diabolical, that's up to you. I'll let you form your own opinion. I know mine is more on the diabolic, satanic, demonic side, but that's just me. Because, you know, what they did, those people were asleep in their apartments. And the international, the international inspection, I can't remember, the ICO, or the inspectors that were in there and making sure Iran was adhering to the, no nuclear weapons, guidelines. I can't remember. I'll put the name of it in the video right here. Anyway, they obviously were feeding information back to the Israelis and probably to the CIA and the government. And so they were spies. So Iran will never allow inspectors to ever again to look at their nuclear program. You know, and you're saying, well, they won't have one soon. I don't know. We'll see where that goes. That's why we're just going to talk about what we know. So when Israel hit them, they were asleep in their apartments with their families. And Israel just blew the hell out of those apartment buildings, killed everybody. From what I understand, there were dead children laying on the streets, body parts everywhere, heads blown off. I don't know how many civilians they killed. I've heard upwards of like 200 to get, I think it was 8 top officials. I had them listed in a previous video, but I never posted the video because my laptop's on the blink that I use to post videos, and also things were moving so fast. By the time I made the video, all the information in it was pretty much outdated. So I just said, you know what? Let's just wait a couple days and we'll go make a whole new video. And you know, I hate trashing all that work. You know, when you go in and you make a video and you're like, it's not even worth posting at this point. So, but I mean, that was a brutal, evil attack. The other thing was the cybersecurity. We know this for sure. Was somehow they were able to shut down Iran's air defenses through a cyber attack, which was pretty sophisticated. And a lot of people don't know that. And that's why for the first 24 hours, pretty much Israel was able to get in there and blow a hell of a lot of shit up. Now, there's so much disinformation coming out. Iran says that Israel hit mostly decoys and they didn't do much damage. Israel, on the other hand, says they did tremendous damage. You know, who knows? The other thing, now, by the way, that is international war crime, by the way, to kill the families and the leaders in a decapitation strike like that. Just saying, although it doesn't seem, international law doesn't seem to matter to the United States and Israel, that's for damn sure. I mean, if they can exterminate the Palestinians, what the hell is a few dead Iraqi Iran families? You know, what the hell? And there have been other civilian targets that have been hit in Iran. Another international crime was Israel hit some of Iran's nuclear facilities. Okay, and so right now one of them is leaking radiation, and that atomic commission, that I showed you earlier. Remember, they were crying about the Zaporizhia plant up in Russia, saying what a disaster that was. But they didn't say boo about the fact that Israel hit these Iranian places. And now, from what I understand, 1 million people have been evacuated because of the radiation leaks that are spewing out of there. So that's another international crime. Guess it doesn't matter. Everybody's cheering it on. Sean Hannity's happy. Mark Levin, he's celebrating. Good Lord, I bet Lindsey Graham, he's probably going home and spanking the monkey, man. he's a happy dude, man. South Carolina, you got the biggest lunatic for a senator I've ever seen in my life. But hey, you know, I guess South Carolina likes him crazy. That's the only thing I can think of. But so what else do we know? Well, at the first, I mean, it was pretty amazing. Iran was able to recover pretty quickly after that cyber attack. And within 48 hours, they launched, well, I want to say the first salvo was like 300. Now, what was reported was those were like 20-year-old, 30-year-old missiles. So Iran was just using up a lot of their old stock to basically make the Iron Dome use up its stock. So they were using old stuff, but even some of the old stuff got through. And from what I understand, they launched some of their newer hypersonics, and they've been pretty much hitting Israel every night, sometimes during the day, since the war began. So now, one of the things that's been noticed is Iran has been shooting less and less. And so Israel is saying, oh, they're running out of missiles, which I can't believe that, because Iran's been preparing for this war for 20 years. That means unless Israel got into those mountains, because I've seen the pictures of these underground facilities, which I don't think Israel was able to get to, I don't see how they could have gotten all that many missiles in Iran. And I'm going to read you some statements by people that are much more knowledgeable about that than me, Douglas McGregor being one of them. So seems to me, what I would, if I was Iran, knowing that the United States is going to get involved, I'd be holding back my good stuff, you know. Maybe hitting Israel with some of it, especially, oh, and that was another thing I just heard just before I came out, that they hit the Mossad headquarters. I don't know what the damage was. I didn't see any pictures. It was just a post on X. So they are hitting, a lot of military targets. And for what I understand, a lot of Israeli command and control is actually below their hospitals. So I don't know if Iran wants to go that route and hit Israeli hospitals, but Israel didn't care. They blew up all the hospitals in Gaza. So what's good for the goose is good for the gander, maybe. I don't know. Although that would turn world opinion against them. But and obviously a lot of the world, and by the way, a lot of the videos that I'm seeing, I guess they're made by people maybe in Lebanon. Because Israel's got a total lockdown on anything coming out. In fact, Al Jazeera, they threw them out completely. So there's no reporting. Another interesting factoid I thought was, and why would this happen? Elon Musk, it's been reported, I haven't verified it, but it was reported on X that he cut Starlink on in Iran. Now, what is the signal that he's trying to send there? I don't know. Seems to me that would help Iran. But maybe they think that that'll help any sort of rebel movement to overthrow the government, because now they can get organized by using the internet. Because Iran also had kind of a blackout on the internet, although I've seen a few news reports. Oh yeah, did you see that? I don't know if you've seen it. That was another war crime from Israel. The Iran reporters were in their studio reporting on the war, and Israel bombed it right in the middle of them broadcasting. And that's another illegal war crime. You're not supposed to be targeting civilian reporters. I don't know, man. It just seems like Israel can do anything they want. And the whole world, all the Sean Hannitys and the Mark Levins and, these Mike Huckabees, they all cheered on, man. Oh yeah, Israel, please set the world on fire. Launch a nuke, Israel. Oh, that's another thing. Pakistan has come out and said that if Israel nukes Iran, that Pakistan's going to nuke Israel. So maybe we won't see the nukes fly. Although it sounds like Trump is contemplating using tactical nuclear weapons. Now, the Russian doctrine has said they will not use a nuclear weapon first. But if Trump does use tactical nuclear weapons on Iran, then the gloves come off. And Russia said they will start using tactical nuclear weapons. So you can see how this thing could escalate. And then, of course, another thing I wanted to say was, Iran's got a navy. And they could very easily shut down the Straits of Hormuz. And man, that would really do the world economy. That would really devastate things. The other thing is Iran, in their nuclear option, we've got bases in Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Iraq. I think we got one in Iraq. I'm pretty sure we still got some troops in Syria. In fact, I saw a report that there were some missiles launched on the Syrian base. I don't know how many troops we have left there. It was originally 2,000, and I heard that Trump was drawing them down, but I don't know if that's true or not, or how many we have drawn down. So anyway, that base might have gotten hit. I'm telling you, the information coming out, there's so much flying around. Crazy reports. It's hard to get to the truth of everything. And that's why I'm just going to read you these posts. I'm just trying to tell you the things that I think I know, all right? Because some of the sources, they're good sources, don't get me wrong, but I don't know where they got their information from. I'm just trusting the sources that I've read and watched on TV. So with all that said, as I think of things, maybe we'll add to it. I also wanted to talk about, a lot of people think that if we go to war with Iran, now assuming that if Iran has what they say they've got, we're not going to be very successful in any sort of campaign against Iran. Now, if what Israel is saying, that Iran's running out of stuff, then yeah, we'll be very successful against Iran. So, you don't know which it is. But what I did want to say was, you got to remember the Biden administration basically emptied our weapon stocks and gave them all to Ukraine. And Europe gave all of their weapons to Ukraine. And then, of course, for Israel, we've been feeding them bombs like candy to kill all the Palestinians. So good Lord, I can't even, I have lost, I one day maybe we'll get a token of how many 2,000-pound bombs Israel dropped on a bunch of towel heads there, and or as they call them, what was the name that Amalek? Amalek? I have to look that up because that was the professor from Iran. That's what he said that Israel looks at them as Amalek, whatever that means. I assume it's a bad name. Anyway, so maybe use that instead of the Sand Ninja name that I used before, because that's what a lot of Zionists think of the Arabs, and of course, especially the Pakistanis and the Persians, which is Iran. Got to remember, Iran is Persia. Not even though they have the theocracy for a government. So anyway, yeah. So what would happen if we go in there, but barrels blazing? Iran says they have enough missiles that they're going to hit not only our bases, but they may hit the oil fields in Saudi Arabia and Qatar. And man, you want to talk about the price of gas? Good Lord. I just filled my car up today. I suggest you do the same. Hey, another little factoid for you was silver. Good God. Now, I'm going to tell you, I went in all in on silver years ago. That's probably where most of my investment lies, for good or bad. As Warren Buffett says, it's just a rock that's been laying around. And I've certainly missed out on a lot of dividends and a lot of good stocks. I just haven't had time. I thought, I'd rather put my money in a safe place, where it's not going to depreciate. And I've got a lot of upwards potential, because a lot of silver, every missile that blows up, that's silver that's taken off the map. Every coin that's bought, that's silver taken off the map. Every car, especially these electric cars that are built, that's a lot of silver taken off the map. Every solar panel that gets made, that's a lot of silver taken off the map. Every computer that comes out the door, that's silver taken off the map. So it just seemed to me that, and especially since you're mining silver, I can't remember, they said like a 7-to-1. Like every ounce of gold you get out of the ground, there's only 7 ounces of silver or something like that. So you would think that silver relative to gold should be about a 15 to 40 to 1, 40 ounces of silver for 1 ounce of gold. But no, it's more, well, last I saw, might be about 81 now, but it was 100 to 1. So it just seemed to me the upward potential for silver. I know I'm getting off on a tangent talking about silver, but Anyway, I was just happy to see it over there. Well, I'm happy and sad. As it gets higher and higher, I can't buy no more. I don't have the money, you know. But if it gets close enough to gold, I've already got a plan. I'm going to ditch the silver and put it into other things. By the way, platinum I saw also was at 1,100 or so. Holy moly. Well, let's get into the reading here. This is Colonel Douglas McGregor. And he said something like, I haven't got the first sentence. Well, here, let's get the first sentence real quick. It says, in the last 72 hours, of course, it's much longer than that now. He put this out a while back. Israel launched a preemptive strike. By the way, notice the word preemptive. You think Russia and China are quaking in their boots? If we as Western nations are this flagrant to just go in and just launch a preemptive strike, don't you think they're on the alert now? Thinking that, you know, they're going to... Oh, and I also wanted, before we get into the reading, I'm sorry, I wanted to talk about what Trump has done to our negotiations. So here we are, we're negotiating with Iran. We're going to meet with them on Sunday. So we were able to get all of their negotiators and a lot of their nuclear scientists and everything that were going to participate in the negotiations in one place so that Israel could kill them. And then Trump comes out and brags about it. Yeah, I knew about it. All the negotiators are dead, thank God. He didn't put it that way. He says, and, you know, so that this will teach Iran a lesson. You know, not to fuck with the United States. Oh, no. We taught them a lesson. Well, think about that. Suppose, I mean, okay, let's go back to World War II. Japan had their negotiators in Washington, D.C. when Yamamoto attacked Pearl Harbor. So that's why everybody's calling the Israeli attack on Iran Pearl Harbor. Well, what happened after Pearl Harbor? Well, over the next 45 years, we finally fought Japan, killing, God knows, well, remember we dropped 2 nuclear bombs on them and everything else. So, I mean, are we in just the same beginning? Because imagine if a country came into the United States and took out a decapitation strike on some of our 4-star generals and our nuclear scientists, okay, and then laughed about it and bragged about it. Now, what has that done? Well, that means that ain't nobody going to negotiate with the United States no more. You can't believe a word Trump says. I mean, are you kidding me? He's saying, well, Iran needs to come back to the negotiating table. You know, what the hell? You think Iran's going to come back to the negotiating table after what you just did, Trump? I mean, that's crazy. I mean, nobody's going to... And by the way, that was another thing that came out was Russia has cut off, or Trump stopped negotiations with Russia. We were going to work with them on some of the root causes of the Ukraine war and talk about maybe de-escalating the nuclear posture and everything. But instead, they canceled the talks. Why? I mean, of course, Russia ain't going to believe a word we say, but I mean, you know, but still, at least we were talking. So now so now you got Russia and China and probably North Korea. Hell, every nuclear nation on the planet's on high alert that we're going to do a preemptive strike because of what Israel just did with the aid of the United States. You don't think that the CIA was in on that operation, or that our satellite data wasn't used for that Israeli strike? Anyway, let's read what McGregor says. Iran, when negotiations between Washington and Tehran were still ongoing, Iran was caught off guard. But Iran recovered more quickly from its Pearl Harbor moment than Israel expected. In less than 18 hours after Israel's surprise attack, Iran responded firing hundreds of ballistic missiles, including hypersonic missiles, into central Tel Aviv and across Israel. Meanwhile, Iran's Iron Dome failed. Israeli intelligence failed. Now Netanyahu is pleading with Washington to intervene with American military power to rescue Israel from certain defeat, a defeat Netanyahu crafted with encouragement from Washington. At the same time, Russia, China, Pakistan, and most of the Muslim world are rallying to Iran's defense. Supplies, equipment, and technical assistance are pouring into Iran. Now, I did hear that I only know of one, but there was a Chinese cargo plane that was sent to Iran. So I do know that for a fact. I've only heard of one, and I mean, why just send one? I don't know. Maybe they had some nukes on it. You know, maybe all you need is one. You know, I don't know. So Let's keep going. All right. Washington burned through 12 trillion in the Middle East since 2003. Result, 7,000 Washington, I don't know why this is, results 7,000 Washington burned through 12 trillion in the Middle East, and 100,000 Americans dying yearly from fentanyl poisoning. Yeah, okay. Today, the United States is $37 trillion in debt, a sum that does not include so-called agency debt. 77 million Americans voted for the President Trump because he promised to end the overseas conflicts and halt the march to World War III. Trump's mandate is unchanged. Secure America's borders, ports and coastal waters. Deport illegal aliens. Crush the criminals raping and murdering Americans. Restore the rule of law, but not one more drop of American blood for foreign wars. One Israeli strike on Kurg Island, where 90% of Iran's oil exports flow, or Bandar Abbas terminals, and Iran closes the Straits of Hormuz. That's 20% of the global oil supply. That means disrupted supply chains and runaway inflation. Gas hits $7 a gallon overnight. Every working family crushed. Truckers can't deliver food. Economy crashes. For what? So Israel, that started this insane war, can drag Americans into a wider regional conflict with the potential for nuclear war. But I just thought this was well said. I mean, that's why I wanted to, because, you know, McGregor's a smart dude. And I think he's laying it out for you very well here. And that's why I wanted to read this to you. Man, I think it's going to get dark. I had to get out here late. It was 98 degrees today with a temperature index of 110. So I had to wait until the evening to get out here so that I could survive. And by the way, yes, I do have water in my backpack. The lit video that never got posted, I didn't bring water that day. Man, I was crying, going, I should have brought water. I should have brought water. Of course, it wasn't 98 degrees that day either. It was only 94. I mean, when I say only 94, that's still hot. Let's see, where were we? Ports and coastal waters. Yeah, okay. This means disrupted supply chains and runaway inflation. Okay, well, we read that paragraph. Do the math. We will run through our inventory of missiles and go broke while Americans come home in boxes. The Middle East is on the brink. Here's what Washington must do to defuse the conflict. Ask for an emergency UN Security Council meeting. Ask for an immediate ceasefire, making it clear that Washington opposes the destruction of Iran, Israel, and any other state in the Middle East. Demand that Israel stop the killing of Palestinians in Gaza and withdraw its forces from Gaza and the West Bank. Suspend all military aid to Israel until Israel agrees to remove its troops from Gaza and permit humanitarian assistance to reach the people of Gaza. Propose the commitment of armed forces from non-aligned nations to police Gaza and the West Bank. Propose that the United States, Russia, China, India, and Brazil convene a peace conference to arbitrate the dispute between Israel, Iran, and Israel's neighbors. I led American soldiers under fire into action. I've seen plenty of flag-draped coffins. I don't want to see any more. Washington warmongers had 22 years. They failed. They lied. They profited while Americans bled. Time's up. America first means America first. Not Israel first, not Ukraine first, not NATO first. America first. Can't say it any better than that. And that's what I've been posting out on X. And you know, a lot of people, I mean, we got a lot of MAGA shrills out there going, boy, if you go against Trump on this, you're just not MAGA. You're not MAGA. Hell yeah, MAGA, America first. This ain't America first, this is Israel first. Who's running the federal government? Netanyahu? Sure does look that way, doesn't it? Or the Israeli lobby? It ain't Tulsi Gabbard. Trump ain't taking her advice, is he? Well, let's just keep going on video here a little bit more. Yeah, let's see. Anyway, we had that video up front. I was going to read it to you, but since you already seen it anyway. Oh yeah, this was a poll that I ran. What do you think Netanyahu is? And I had four picks. And the one that got the most votes was genocidal maniac. And then the second one was, I put President of the United States. So a lot of people agreed with me that maybe Netanyahu's the Antichrist, or Trump could be. I mean, I don't know, man. If he really does bring us into regional war in the Middle East, I see. I mean, good God, even if we don't go to nuclear war, like McGregor was saying, that's the end of the world economy. You think Trump? Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets impeached, because all the Democrats want to impeach him. And I guarantee you, the MAGA is going to vote against him in the midterms. That means you're going to have a Democrat-controlled Congress. Trump may only get 2 years, unless he gets back on his America First agenda. I don't see his administration lasting more than 2 years. This was DD Geopolitics. The United States has unilaterally canceled a scheduled meeting with Russia aimed at resolving tensions in bilateral relations, according to Russian Foreign Ministry spokesman Maria Zakharov. She noted that the talks, which were intended to address key irritants, including the function of diplomatic missions, were scrapped at Washington's initiative. Zakharov added that Moscow still hopes to pause to peace taken by the United States in consultations on embassy operations won't drag on indefinitely, implying that further delay would only worsen the already strained relations. So I just wanted to read that whole thing to you, because I don't even understand why Trump canceled that. So all I'm saying is give peace a chance. All we are saying is give peace a chance. Remember that? And Billy Jack, boy, I tell you, go back and watch that movie. That was one great movie. My brother, my dead brother, that was one of his favorite movies, and boy, he hooked me right onto it. So anyway, I guess that might be it for the video. I'm going to look at my bookmarks on the way back here, and maybe we'll add to the video. We'll get some scenery, and if not, peace out, stay free. I think I've said enough. I'll probably think of some more things that we should talk about, but I think we pretty much covered everything. I mean, those are just the things that I know. By the way, before I came out, there were reports of another 100 missile strike on Israel, and there was also a statement put out. I'll try to find it in my bookmarks. It was put out by one of the Iranian commanders, and he said, he was bragging about the fact that something major is going to happen tonight in Israel. And when I say this is the 17th. So when I get back, if it's all right, because it's 1 o'clock, it was 1 o'clock and was probably about 2 o'clock in the morning in Tel Aviv right now. So it should be happening by the time I get back to watch TV, and we'll update this video with whatever took place, because he was given the big warning. And then of course, you also know that Trump told people to get out of Tehran. Now I don't know what he's planning to do to the capital of Iran, in Tehran capital, I believe. Anyway, so, and they were showing pictures of the streets where people took the warning, and they're either indoors or a lot of them left the city. So I don't know. If Trump hits that with a tactical nuke, that's the only thing I can think of that he's going to do. He's fucking lost his mind, man. The dude has lost it. Look at his tweets, man. He even threatened the leader of Iran. He said, we didn't kill Nasrallah. I think that's his name. But we know where he is, and we can take him out anytime we want. That's like a gangster, man. That's gangster talk. Yeah, I can take you out anytime I want, baby. Joe Biden, let's go around back. Let's go around back. What was he called? What was it? His something pop? I don't know. All right, peace out. Stay free. We'll add to the video here in a bit. Oh yeah, on the way back, let's hit on a couple other things. Isn't that a beautiful sun? Walking right into it. I do love being out here in the evenings, man. I just, everybody, this is when everybody settles in. And I tell you what, there's nothing better getting home about 9:30 and that chilling out with some water and some pop and just kicking back and thinking, God, I'm glad this day is done. But anyway, this is Robert Barnes, and he points this out. The other thing I wanted to tell you was it's amazing. Israel got a lot a lot. Well, you know, the other thing I forgot to tell you about was the drones. The same way that Ukraine attacked Russia was Israel rolled these trucks in with the drones and got them near the air defenses. And so they were already behind the lines, and that was also how they were able to take out a lot of the air defenses. So you can see the pattern, you know, because by the way, Mossad, MI6, and CIA worked on that operation in Ukraine, but you can see the pattern here. Obviously, it was probably the same bunch of characters that put together those drones and sent them into Iran. So that was the first subversive thing that they did behind. And by the way, they built the drones in Iran, from what I understand. So they actually had a base inside Iran. That tells you how big Iran is. Iran didn't even know the base was there, which is crazy when you think about it in a way. And then of course the other thing is Israel's claiming that they're getting a lot of missile strikes and everything in there. But Iran is saying, no, these are car bombs. These are terrorist acts. And there were also reports on X that 20 Mossad agents have been executed in Iran, and I think they've rounded up supposedly some more. I don't know if they've executed them already. That probably wasn't much of a trial, and they must have had, well, I'm hoping they had irrefutable evidence. And I don't blame them. I put them to death too, you know. So, let's just hope the evidence was there. I mean, I hate to think of them killing a bunch of people just because they're suspected of being Mossad agents. But this is Robert Barnes, and I thought he said this very well. Guess which country has never signed the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, has been repeatedly criticized for its lack of transparency in its nuclear program by the agency cited as the authoritative force by J.D. Vance and as the least transparent in the world about nukes? Israel. Now, one of the things that I've been pointing out on X, okay, you don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon. Well, guess what? I don't want Israel to have a nuclear weapon. So, I mean, why couldn't we propose, say, hey, Iran, if you get rid of your nuclear program, we'll make Israel get rid of their nukes. Wouldn't that be a nice bargain? And just think of a Middle East without a nuclear weapon. Wouldn't that be a more peaceful world? Especially when you got a Zionist, lunatic, demonic antichrist running the nation, exterminating an entire population of Palestinians. I mean, what the hell? I mean, I know this sounds crazy. I'd trust Iran with the nuke before I trust Israel. That's just me. And by the way, every time you listen to a radio talking head like Levin or Hannity or Stearns, we got a treaty with Israel. We don't have no flipping treaty with Israel, man. Most Americans don't even know that. Israel is not going to come riding to our aid when the United States crashes after $37 trillion in debt. They're just going to laugh at us and go on about if they're still around. I'm not sure there's going to be an Israel there after this war. But anyway, so let's read you J.D. Vance's post, if I can get it up here. This is just a short one. He put up a much longer post. Look, I'm seeing this from the inside, and admittedly biased towards our president and my friend, but there's a lot of crazy stuff on social media, so I wanted to address some things on this. I think this is the post. There we go. I got it up. Finally. Phone's acting funny. On this Iran issue. First, POTUS has been amazingly consistent over 10 years that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Over the last few months, he encouraged his foreign policy team to reach a deal with the Iranians to accomplish this goal. The president has made clear that Iran cannot have uranium enrichment, and that he has said repeatedly that this would happen one of two ways, the easy way or the other way. Second, I've seen a lot of confusion over the issue of civilian nuclear power and uranium enrichment. These are distinct issues. Iran could have a civilian power without enrichment, but Iran rejected that. Meanwhile, they've enriched uranium far above the level necessary for any civilian purpose. They've been found in violation of their non-proliferation obligations. This is the one. International Atomic Energy Agency, the spies of the CIA. He should just say the CIA IAEA, because they, by the way, they were the ones who provided the Israelis all the apartments of where those the negotiators and the scientists and those generals were. At least that's what's been reported, is that they were the ones that provided all the intelligence on that. And so that's how Israel knew where to strike to kill all those families. So I wouldn't trust the IAEA anymore. I got something biting me on the arm. Sorry, the camera's going all over the place. It's one thing to want civilian nuclear energy. It's another to demand sophisticated enrichment capacity. And it's still another to cling to enrichment while simultaneously, got a bug on my neck now. Yeah, got it. So, sorry, lost my place. Another to cling to enrichment simultaneously, violating basic non-proliferation obligations and enriching right to the point of weapons-grade uranium. The bugs are out. Bugs are out. I have yet to see a single good argument for why Iran needed to enrich uranium well above the threshold for civilian use. And I've yet to see a single good argument for why Iran was justified in violation of the non-proliferation obligations. And I've yet to see a good published against the IAEA findings. Meanwhile, the president has shown remarkable restraint in keeping our military forces on protecting our troops and protecting our citizens. He may decide he needs to take further action and to end Iranian enrichment. That decision ultimately belongs to the president. And of course, people are right to be worried about foreign entanglement after the last 25 years of idiotic foreign policy. Let's just say foreign wars. Sorry, I wasn't keeping the camera right. But I believe the president has earned some trust on this issue. And having seen this up close and personal, I can assure you he's only interested in using the military to accomplish American people's goals, whatever he does, and that's his focus. That was a post by J.D. Vance, but I thought Barnes made a really good point in the beginning. And by the way, Barnes put out a huge statement. I won't read it in this video, but maybe we'll read it in a future video where he talks about international law and how Israel's total disregard for anything to do with international law. And he breaks it down, the legal aspects of everything that they've done and the crimes that they've committed. So I thought that was a real good post. Anyway, we'll get that someday in a future video. If I see something else short, this has gotten to be a long video. I probably won't add any more to it. Man, the bugs are biting on me, man. Bugs are biting on me. I was going to wait to get the sunset, but I think it's going to get down before we get a good view of it. But I did want to get that cloud. You know, sometimes I like looking at the clouds as much as I enjoy getting the sunset. There was one other thing that somebody thought of. I'll just keep it on the cloud here. Was, and you know, they made a good point. If Israel was able to get drones into Iran, and if they were able to have, by the way, it was 20 agents, and there was a picture of a guy on the ground, and they actually hung him, is what it said. So anyway, so hopefully they were Mossad. Hope they weren't innocent. And I mean, that'd be a heck of a way. Let's get that sun just a second. Anyway, so he's pointing out, so we got all these car bombs going off. You know, they obviously they had a whole bunch of spies. They had a cyber attack. So I mean, when you think about it, Iran's security leaks like a sieve, man. I mean, my God. But his point was, and I thought this was a good point. He said, you know, if Iran is such a totalitarian government, and they have, you know, monitored like China does everything that everybody does, and they, you know, keep an eye on everybody, how in the world did all of these security lapses take place? Sounds like a free society to me. And that's that was their point. And it does to me too. And I've watched videos of people who have visited Iran, and they talk, isn't that beautiful? The sun hitting those pine trees. And a lot of people that visited Iran, they said it's a very nice place. The food is excellent from what I understand. And they were treated very well. And they didn't, you know, and they said the women, they don't all have to wear burqas from what I've been told. Now, obviously, I'm getting this secondhand from people that have been there. They said, no, it's, you know, it's a very free society. So it sounds like it would be, because they certainly didn't have the security that they needed. But I imagine now security's gotten really tight, which is unfortunate if people were really living the way that I think they were living. Let's get one more view of those pine trees. I just think that looks cool with the grass underneath. Kind of kind of like a weird, you know, green Christmas or something. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why I was thinking of Christmas, but this is how I would picture the North Pole in the summertime, you know, maybe. Who knows? Oh, one of the things Scott Ritter pointed out, I don't know if it's true or not. I just take him at his word. He knows a hell of a lot more about these things than I do. He said in order for, by the way, the Nimitz, from what I understand, has been diverted from the South China Sea over to the Mediterranean. You know, Scott was pointing out that only gives us, I don't know, it was a pretty low number of aircraft. By the way, I did talk about that earlier in the video, because, you know, I used to work on planes. You know, you can only fly a plane for so many hours before it has to go into its maintenance cycle. Now, Israel has been flying their planes over Syria, over Lebanon, over Gaza. I mean, just pounding the shit out of those places for the last 9 months. And now that, you know, of course, I think they used them in the attack on Iran. Those planes have got to be needing a lot of maintenance. So I can't imagine. And the same with those Nimitz planes. You know, I imagine they've been flying those too. You know, I'm not sure how much maintenance you can do on an aircraft carrier. I mean, I would imagine they have to go into a more elaborate shop, especially for, because, you know, actually you have to tear a plane completely apart at some point after a certain number of hours of flight time. So I'm wondering if those Israeli planes, and oh, that was another thing, the planes have been moved to Cyprus because of all the missiles that are supposedly hitting the Israeli air bases. So actually the Israeli planes are now in Cyprus. So I wouldn't want to live in Cyprus. I wonder if that's on the menu, right? The Iranian menu. Damn it. I forgot where I was going with all of this before I got off on a tangent. Anyway, I'll get it. Oh, yeah. So what Scott was saying is that they have to bring the carrier in close enough to launch those planes that Iran could use a hypersonic missile to hit that carrier, that they have that capability because they would be within range of the Iranian missiles. So something else to think about, huh? If that's true. I mean, I assume Scott knows what he's talking about. So we could possibly, I mean, if this thing really gets crazy, we could lose a carrier. I mean, it's a hell of a thought, isn't it? I mean, you know, you believe Scott or not. A lot of people don't like Scott Ritter. I like him. I think he's a great guy. Anyway, that's just it. All right, one more nature shot on the way back. Kind of a cool view here with the clouds in the background there. And then it was swinging around, the sun being there. Huh? Quite beautiful out here. Can't believe I'm the only one here. Oh well. All right, I found the post. So this is much more ominous than the way I was putting it. This is breaking. Iran state media says there is a surprise tonight that the world will remember for centuries. I guess that's but he doesn't say who said that. This is Wall Street Mav, one of the accounts on X. So who knows what that means. Hey, you know, I thought of a new angle for the channel, which I think I'm gonna do when I get home, because I really thought about it, you know. Because obviously I'm not a scholar. I was a cybersecurity dude. But you know, I'm a redneck at heart and a redneck my whole life. So I'm gonna change all my descriptions to say a redneck view of geopolitics. I think it's brilliant. I mean, you know, let me know if you think that's a good idea. Because obviously I am a redneck, and it is a redneck view of geopolitics. And, you know, I can't think of another channel around that gives you a redneck view of geopolitics. You know, everybody wants to act like they're all smart and intelligent and, you know, sophisticated and everything. I'm none of the above. I mean, you know, I'm a redneck. All right, so let's, I'm gonna make that change when I get home. If you think it's a bad idea, let me know. Or if it's a good idea, let me know. Anyway, I just thought of that on the way back. One last view here. What do you think? By the way, I thought of a different name. Redneck News. A little bit shorter, because I do a lot of news. I don't just talk about geopolitics. I think that'd be better if I can get that channel. I'm gonna go home, not tonight, but play with that in the coming days, see if I can get a new channel on YouTube called Redneck News. I like it. Isn't that beautiful? Woo.
Yeah, Jesse, you can hear behind me there are sirens sounding as ballistic missiles are fired at this city. Air defense systems are currently active over Tel Aviv with hundreds of thousands of people into bomb shelters at this moment. Unhook. Get off. All right, we got it. We're going to move. Okay, stay with us. Stay with us. Stay with us. Keep moving, keep moving, keep moving, keep moving. Give me 1 second, Jesse. I'm with you. I got to fix my IFB. One second, Jesse. We're going to give you a quick update. I'm with you. Jesse, I got you back.
There's a shelter-in-place order right now. We hear the sirens. Trey, are you with me?